My name's Tori Vallon. I'm a women's integrative nutrition and lifestyle coach. I'm also a functional weight loss specialist. And on this topic of brain fog, I want to know, what does perimenopause brain fog feel like for you? Because what a lot of women tell me is, get to the afternoon and they kind of walk into a room and they can't remember why they did, or they'll be in the middle of a sentence and that word, that ordinary, everyday word, the one that they always remember all of the time, but that word is gone. They can't remember that normal word anymore. Maybe it's like banana. Normally, no problems thinking of the word banana, but just one day it'll just hit you and you just can't think of it anymore. Or maybe it feels like you're reading a book and you read the same paragraph over and over and over again, and you're just not really bringing the information on board. It's like you can't absorb the information. So brain fog feels different for each woman. Some women feel like I suddenly need to write things down. I never used to have to write them down before because I would always just remember. And the thing that's a bit of a shame is that some women start to think maybe there's actually something wrong with my brain. And when you mention it to someone, especially if it's women your own age, they'll go, "Oh, you too? Yeah. Oh, that's just menopause, or that's just perimenopause, or that's just what it's like. We're getting older." If you've discussed it with a GP, you might have been dismissed, or you might have been handed a prescription just to something that calms you down, makes you feel a bit better about it. But nobody actually helped you understand why it's happening. And that is what I do. I'm the lady who explains why. And that's what I want you to walk away with today. I want you to walk away with a few answers and not be feeling like you're just a bit of a dill and that brain fog is just this part of your personality now. Because that's not what this is. It's not the beginning of the end. It's not the beginning of decline that's just inevitable and you'll never have a sharp mind ever again. That's not my experience with women. What's actually going on is your brain is responding and having a very understandable and logical response to the environment you're asking it to live in. It's an environment that's no longer supporting it. And the good news about that is that environments can be changed. So by the end of this session, and I've got so much I want to get through, but by the end of this session, you'll understand the main things that are actually driving your brain fog, and you'll understand what you need to do to address them. So let's jump into it. If you've just joined us, please say hi. I can't see any comments yet, but I know that you're out there. I can see you guys watching the call. So please say hi. Let me know where you're tuning in from. If you're a Radiant Health Reset person, then it's extra important that you say hi because we're already friends. All right, the first thing I want to talk about when it comes to perimenopause brain fog, this is real. It has real mechanisms, and those real mechanisms have a name. But tell me first, have you ever gone to seek help from a GP and described cognitive symptoms and potentially been told, "Hi, Nancy. Oh, I haven't heard from you in a little while, darling. I hope you're well." If you have gone into an appointment and described this symptom, but been offered maybe like a mental health label, or maybe you got offered nothing at all, it can make you feel like you're overreacting. But I want to be really clear about something because this really gets my goat. Oh, Jenny's here. Hi, Jenny. Jenny's doing Radiant Health Reset with me. I want to be really clear about something because I get really annoyed by this. Brain fog and perimenopause is not just some vague complaint, and it's not just, oh, it's not really a big deal. It's a big deal. It's a documented neurochemical metabolic event, and it has specific, identifiable, measurable drivers. Your brain, oh, Leandra's here as well. Oh, my darling. So Leandra's another Radiant Health Reset participant. It's so lovely when my Radiant Health Reset ladies come along. Love it. Please feel free, you guys, to tell others about the benefits you've had doing Radiant Health Reset with us. And you've probably had some improvements in your brain fog, no doubt. So your brain's an organ, and much like any other organ in your body, Your brain requires specific fuel. It needs to be supplied with fuel, and it's within an environment, the environment of your body and the environment of your lifestyle. Your brain, like other organs, has a hormonal signaling system, and it also has a waste clearance system, and has the ability to get rid of the junk it doesn't need that's causing problems for it. When any one of those things isn't working very well, then your cognition's going to change. That is inevitable. And that doesn't mean that you are fragile and you are declining. It's just physiology. So when you're having trouble reaching for the word in your vocabulary, or when you're having trouble with your short-term memory, you can't remember what you just did a few moments ago, walking into a room, whoops, shit, why am I here? When you can't hold your train of thought, those are symptoms. Symptoms have drivers, usually biochemical drivers, sometimes physical drivers. Drivers have root causes. So your brain fog is a symptom, and symptoms are signals. This is really important that women understand this. I'll probably repeat it a few times because it's that important. The fact that this symptom has drivers is the best thing you could learn today, because symptoms that have drivers and drivers have root causes, and root causes can almost always be fixed, or at least worked with to a significant degree. That is better than hearing, oh, it's just your age, isn't it? Because what are you going to do about it if it's your age? You can't do anything about it. But if I tell you this is to do with your blood sugar stability and your gut permeability and your chronically elevated cortisol and the nutrients that you're starving your body of, well then if we actually name what's happening, then we go, oh, well now we know the first step to doing something about it, right? So I haven't got into that yet, but I will. But I needed to put a very important caveat at the beginning, and that is this. If you are watching this because you're struggling with brain fog, if your cognition changes are very sudden, if they're rapidly getting worse, if your cognition struggles are accompanied by numbness or tingling or motor problems, then please insist on being properly assessed. Don't tolerate being dismissed. Advocate for yourself. Don't just look for reassurance, okay? Press for more information. That's probably not what's going on, but I just had to put that caveat out there because it wouldn't be responsible of me to make it sound like it's never something more. It could be. But a vast majority of the time, hormonal brain fog has very clear drivers. So the first one that I want to talk about is the job that estrogen used to do that nobody told you about. You didn't need to know because you had plenty of estrogen. When we talk about hormones and we talk about perimenopause and menopause, it's easy for women to think, oh God, my hormones are all over the place and my hormones have just gone wild. Full stop. No explanation. Nobody talks about which specific hormone doing what, which specific job in which organ or which tissue of the body. So I want to actually explain it rather than just leaving it at, oh, it's a hormonal thing. So here's what's actually happening. This is the biochemistry of it. Estrogen in a woman's body is not just a reproductive hormone. It has many other responsibilities. Actually, your brain is covered in estrogen receptors, especially in the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex. And this is where our memory and our executive function lives. And estrogen is supporting the cerebral blood flow, good, healthy blood flow, how much oxygen and how much fuel is actually reaching the brain tissue. And estrogen is supporting glucose uptake in the brain. We often talk about estrogen being related to insulin sensitivity on cells. Well, it's also part of this, like glucose being taken up into the brain, how efficiently your neurons are going to use that fuel they're being supplied with. And estrogen supports neurotransmitter production. We love neurotransmitters, don't we? Serotonin and dopamine, acetylcholine. That is creating our mood, but also our motivation and our memory. So that's a lot of different things running in the brain that are requiring estrogen, right? It's a whole lot of jobs. Hi, if you've just joined us, please say hi in the comments. Let me know where you're tuning in from. So, you never had to think about that when you were younger because you just had a ton of estrogen on board. So here's the perimenopause part. In perimenopause, estrogen isn't just declining. That would be nice if it was just gradual, give you plenty of time to get used to the idea. It's not really like that. It becomes erratic for most women. It fluctuates very kind of unpredictably. Sometimes it's higher than ever, and then sometimes it can crash down. And remember, we also have progesterone declining. Progesterone declined first for most women. It's gone. It's out of there pretty well. So we've already lost our calming reproductive hormone that was helping us get great sleep. And that's happened, and then estrogen starts swinging around wildly. So less sleep, less calm from progesterone leaving us, and then with estrogen being up and down, we're starting to lose some of that neuroprotective scaffolding that we had in place. It's not, for the group of women we're talking about right now in perimenopause, it's not gone altogether, but it would be fair to say it's unstable at this stage of our life. And so your brain fog can feel inconsistent. It's not all the time. You'll have a couple of great days, and then you'll have a few days where you just can't find the word for hand or banana or fridge. Things would normally come to you quite easily. So what I feel isn't being explained well is that, yes, there is a direct hormonal contribution to brain fog, but that is not the whole story. And I really need you to know that. And I also really need you to know that this fluctuating estrogen, that there's a lot we can do about it. It's not just, well, that's what happens in perimenopause. Progesterone's gone, estrogen fluctuates. Geez, tough luck. It's not like that. There's a lot we can do to influence that and manage our hormones better. It's exactly what we do inside Radiant Health Reset. But even if you work on the reproductive hormone stability, it's not going to clear the fog completely. But I see this all the time where women are expecting, this is happening in Facebook groups, where women are expecting that if they commence HRT or MHT, as we often call it now, hormone replacement therapy is more often being called menopause hormone therapy now, that they still feel foggy. And then they conclude like, oh, either hormone replacement therapy doesn't work, or maybe it really is my brain. Well, no, it's not that. It's just that the hormones were just one of the drivers, but not the full picture. So when our reproductive hormones start to tail off, they're exposing dysfunction underneath. And if there's less dysfunction, you're going to feel less brain fog. But what it reveals is often, for a lot of people, quite a lot of dysfunction. So let's walk through a little bit of that. We're talking about, a starved, inflamed brain that's in survival mode effectively. But let's go through this one by one. So the first thing is your brain is often completely starved of the fuel that it needs. Because there's a whole lot of ladies out there intermittent fasting or restricting their calories, or otherwise just believing that they're too busy to eat, or if they eat too much, they're going to put on weight. They think, this is what they think. They think coffee for breakfast, that's a meal. Actually, I don't know what they're thinking. I'm not sure. Maybe you could tell me in the comments. What were you thinking? How are you expecting that your brain, this beautiful organ of your body, was going to survive on a coffee for breakfast? I'm talking about women who just have a coffee for breakfast. You can't push through that. Your brain is a big deal. It's a big organ. It's about 2% of your body weight, but even though it's 2% of your body weight, it needs about 20% of the glucose that's coming into your body. That's a lot. It can't store it for later. That's really important. It can't store it for tomorrow. It can't store it for later today. It needs a steady supply coming in. So when you eat in a way that creates blood sugar instability, or when you live your life in a way that creates, that's so interesting. Leandra says that was me before Radiant Health Reset. Believing that coffee was breakfast and then wondering, why do I feel so irritable? Why doesn't my brain work so well? Oh, Michelle's here too. I've got so many Radiant Health Reset ladies here. So beautiful. Thanks for saying hi, Michelle. So that's a situation where if you're having coffee and believing that's breakfast, that's not enough fuel for your brain. Is it any wonder that your brain doesn't work well? Is it any wonder that you don't have balanced neurotransmitters? So I just want to re-emphasize this. Your brain can't store glucose for later. It doesn't have the capacity to do that. So what it needs is a steady supply. If you're eating and living your life in such a way that you're on a blood sugar roller coaster, then your brain's fuel supply is going to spike and then it's going to crash and then it's going to spike and then it's going to crash. And you'll wonder why you're so irritable. And your partner might be asking why he's so nasty. Your kids might be like, why he's so grumpy. But also you're going to struggle a lot with your cognition. You're going to have struggles with your vocab. You are going to have, an inability to concentrate well. You're going to struggle with your short-term memory. So your brain gets inflamed as well. It's a real thing, neuroinflammation. And people think about inflammation and they think it's just like, oh, my knee is inflamed, like, oh, a bit of inflammation in my lower back, or oh, I get a little inflammation in my joints and my fingers. How about your brain? But we need to talk about the gut. Your small intestine, that beautiful lining of the gut is only one cell thick. And there are many reasons why we can end up with holes in that one cell thick membrane. We call that a leaky gut, and little bacterial fragments will leak through to the other side. We call them lipopolysaccharides. But once they leak through and they enter the bloodstream, lipopolysaccharides are really inflammatory, by the way. Yes, that's right, Jenny. So Jenny had to learn to fuel her body in a different way in order to help her cognition, in order to help her feel better, but also in order to help lose the belly fat. So when we've got a leaky gut and we have these inflammatory molecules passing through the gut and ending up in the bloodstream, well, now we also have, if they're in the bloodstream, they're also going to make their way to the brain. And these little inflammatory molecules, lipopolysaccharides, you can call them LPSs, they're also going to make their way through the blood-brain barrier. By the way, when you had more estrogen earlier in your life, it kept the blood-brain barrier thicker and more protective. But now it's thinner, like all tissue in the body. When we lose estrogen, the tissue becomes thinner. So now inside your head, you've got inflammation. Neuroinflammation, we call it. And it's going to slow everything down. It's going to make the barrier more permeable. So leaky gut and leaky brain always go hand in hand. If you've got gut problems, you've got brain problems for sure. It's all the same drivers. Okay? The good news is you can fix it because it's a symptom and symptoms have drivers and drivers have root causes. I'm going to say it over and over again because it's so true. And we can fix a leaky gut really quickly and we can fix a leaky brain really quickly too. So all hope is not lost. So another thing that's going on is your brain is totally in survival mode because most women who come to me who are either perimenopausal or menopausal are living in survival mode and they have chronically elevated cortisol levels. And our nervous system's very clever. It kind of has these two main operating modes. We call one of them the sympathetic nervous system state. We call the other one the parasympathetic nervous system state. Now, if your cortisol is chronically elevated, you are in a sympathetic dominant state. That means fight or flight. And on purpose, your body's going to shut down any kind of like activity that's not directly related to your survival, like writing things to memory or being able to use reasoning or planning or focus on an activity like reading and comprehending, because that shit's not critical to your survival. Instead, your nervous system's going to tell the different systems of your body to upregulate anything related to your survival, like threat detection and vigilance and reactivity and speeding up your heart rate. So that's not something wrong with your brain. It's not malfunction. This is a good survival mechanism. Because if your body's under sustained threat, which for most of you, your bodies believe that they're under sustained threat, you don't need to access your vocab when you're under sustained threat. That is a luxury, and you don't get luxuries when you're running for your life. Your body is going to prioritize vigilance and scanning for threat over thinking of the word banana, because it just doesn't matter if you're running for your life. So your brain is doing exactly what it's supposed to do under emergency situations. So we've talked about your brain being starved of the nutrients that it needs, primarily glucose, because you don't eat frequently enough. By the way, I'm not telling you to eat sugar. That's not what I said. I wish I had all day to tell this to you, but we can talk about this when you join Radiant Health Reset. Your brain is starved of the nutrients that it needs, primarily glucose. Your brain is inflamed because you've got a leaky gut. And if you've got a leaky gut, you've got a leaky brain. We fix that in Radiant Health Reset too. And your brain is on high alert because your cortisol levels are chronically elevated. And when you're on high alert and you're in a sympathetic dominant state, your memory and your focus are the least of your worries. So all of the things that we've talked about are empowering because they're all things that you can change. They're all things related to your environment. Even the hormonal piece we spoke about at the very beginning, we can change that too because we can support our hormones in a natural way. So there's nothing wrong with your intelligence. You're still a smart woman. You're not a dumbass. But your access to your intelligence and your access to your memory gets restricted. But we can restore it. How exciting is that? If that gets you excited, I would love to see a thumbs up in the comments or a little love heart, especially if you're watching this on the replay right now. Tell me, are you excited about the fact that you can access your memory again and your vocab again and your cognitive ability? You won't keep walking into rooms and forgetting why you're there. You won't feel silly when you're doing a presentation at work and suddenly you just can't remember your train of thought. If you're excited by that, give me a little emoji in the comments and let me know you're still with me. All right, have I got time? Oh, I've got 1 minute. Okay, so let's just talk about what actually helps. Number one, stabilize your blood sugars. Always. Gotta eat, right? Number two, heal your leaky gut. Number three, stop living life in survival mode with chronically elevated cortisol. You know you do it. You got to stop that. Number four, we didn't talk about this a lot in detail, but you need to get the key nutrients in that downregulate the inflammation and feed your blood with feed your brain with the nutrients it needs. Number five, deep restorative sleep. Fix your sleep architecture. Critical to brain health. Did you notice things oh good, I can see some thumbs up in the comments, amazing. Notice what I didn't say you needed to do to fix it. I did not name a supplement that you have to go out and buy. I didn't talk about a specific prescription that you need to go out and get. I talked about fueling your brain. I talked about lowering your stress. I talked about fixing your leaky gut, which you can do with food and lifestyle change. I talked about getting better sleep. what's the word I'm looking for? Unglamorous, unsexy foundations. I mean, it's sexy to me, but it isn't to very many other people. They just want to go and buy a supplement and have a pill fix it. They don't really want to look at their day in, day out choices. But actually, this is what we need to do. And it's exactly what we do inside the Radiant Health Reset. When you put those foundations in place and you do it in the right order, you don't just get your focus back, you will get your confidence back, and you get the confidence to talk in meetings again. You get the confidence to go for that job. You stop apologizing to everyone about your memory, and you actually start to feel like yourself again. Why wouldn't you want that? All of this is exactly what we do in the Radiant Health Reset, plus more. Radiant Health Reset is my signature program for women over the age of 40 who want to lose the weight, they want to get the energy back, they want to say goodbye to their tummy fat, they want to say goodbye to brain fog, they want to feel the best that they've ever felt in their lives, including better than when they were in their 20s and 30s. So if you are interested, we will be having a Radiant Health Reset intake, not now, doors are closed right now, but we'll be having one in the near future. And I've already had a few people say, I got to be in on that next intake. I can't leave it any longer. So if that's you, I want you to comment Radiant so that you're on my radar, so I can get you the information and you can be part of our next intake. Radiant in big capital letters so you get my attention. All right, ladies, I'm going to leave you with it. I deeply hope that that was helpful to you all today. If you have any questions at all, you know where to find me. Feel free to send me a DM. Tell me a little bit about what brain fog feels like to you, and tell me if you felt like this session was helpful to you. I wish you an amazing day, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye now.